and made it seem like he was being drafted. And it turns out the caller was a 21-year-old who's the son of the Falcons defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. And I know this is not going to go over well with people, but I give this 21-year-old so much credit that he could get Shedeur's phone number and go through and do this particular call to Sanders.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
But you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Ready to go.
What does that mean?
How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone?
You heard that? He said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't know what that was. Nobody got this number though.
Man, he just got trolled, bro. They tripping now, man. Now I'm getting crashed out, bro.
He got trolled.
His name was Jax, and he apologized on social media for ruining Sanders' life experience of being drafted. The Falcons also apologized. The NFL is investigating on how Jax got the number, but he must have had a G2G protein bar because that is not an easy thing to do. So I know I'm being facetious. It was a stupid thing that he did, but I'm having a little fun with it.
Real quick, something very interesting about this is he's not the only person to get this call. Apparently, the tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren, was also another person to receive a call. So it sounds like Ulbrich, his son, was kind of sending these numbers around to a couple of his buddies. Man, just a rough day for all those draft guys.
I agree. That's why it's kind of comical. But
did you ever do prank calls when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah,
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was great when you used to, there wasn't cell phones.
Exactly.
You couldn't see who and caller ID and all that
None
stuff.
Of that.
So.
And that happens a lot, guys. I got crank called twice during the day. I was going to get drafted that
Here
first
we go.
round.
Story time, boys. Play music.
And one guy, my one buddy.
Every hour on the hour.
I went, wait a second. It was really real. It was Sheldon Pierce. Front res was Sheldon. Hang up the damn phone. Okay. So it happens a lot, but not to that degree. That was like real authentic,
And the fact it was Shedeur, and he's falling, and the kid goes, "You're gonna have to wait a little longer." It's classic. I know it's screwed up, but oh my god,
he'll get over it.
He's my G2G protein bar.
My G2G protein bar game changer of the week, and let's go back to Saturday night over at Chase Field.
First one to Suarez, swung on and launched deep to left field. Back it goes, on its way. Goodbye. Back in the home run column for Geno. That's his 7th, and the D-backs cut into the deficit. It's now 2-1. The 3-2. Swung on. That's hit high. That's hit deep. Out to left field. It is gone. Second of the night for Suarez. A 5-2 Diamondback lead. There's a swing and a drive. Deep left center field. Way back. And it's gone. A hat trick for Suarez. His 3rd of the night. He's got 9 on the year, and it's now 6-2 Diamondbacks. 3-2 swung on. That's it high. Deep to left. That's 4. 4 score. We're tied at 7. Suarez's magical night continues.
D-backs for baseman Geno Suárez. What would you call that? Quadfecta or something like that? With his 4th consecutive home runs in Saturday night's game against Atlanta, Suarez had 4 home runs, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and is now hitting a walloping 202, just above the Mendoza line.
202.
I'm also might add he is also the only the 19th player, which is pretty interesting, to ever hit.
Who's the first
4 home runs in a game? I'm going to say Babe Ruth. Maybe.
You can't throw out a stat and say 19 and not know who the first one is.
Yeah, I'd have to go back, but he's 19 out of all these 190-some years of Major League Baseball. So Geno Suárez is my G2G protein bar game changer of the night.
Mine's a little simpler than getting railed on by Rock because we'll go to the NBA and the ending of the Clippers-Nuggets game.
2 boxes on them. This is for the win. It's close. They're going to call it. Did Gordon beat the buzzer? They're going to take a look at it. I think it's there.
The ball was deemed to get out of Gordon's hands right before the LED light. This is a
The Nuggets have won.
The game is over.
The Nuggets have won. And the series is tied at 2.
That was unbelievable, and they looked at it for quite a while, but the call on the court was it counted, and so it has to be irrefutable evidence to change the call. That was not the case, and the call stands, and that was an unbelievable finish to that game, and it's the first time ever that an NBA playoff game has ended on a slam dunk right at the buzzer. Now, so I'm at a refreshment stand, and a guy is trying to tell me, well, DeAndre Ayton with the alley. Oh, no, there was still time left on the clock. Remember, there was no time left for the Suns when they inbounded the ball, and DeAndre caught it and threw it down. They went back, looked at the clock, and put 0.7 seconds back on the clock. So the opposition did indeed get the basketball. This is the first time the game had ended on a dunk like that. That is good enough for my G2G Protein Bar game changer of the weekend. All right, what do you got, Jax?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the Valley as well. I got to give my G2G Protein Bar game changer to Monti Ossenfort. Here's him talking about going heavy defense in the NFL drafts.
Really, that's just how it worked out. Wasn't the plan at all. It's just, it's one of those things where, we stick to the philosophy of staying true to our board. And, I certainly would have loved to add some people on offense, but just the way it worked out, we were always going to take the guy who was higher on our board. And it just so happened that 6 of the 7 guys were on defense. So.
Yeah, and I think looking at this draft class, when they were at 16, I was screaming for Will Johnson, ended up falling to 47. Me and Manuch talked on Friday. We did not think in a world that Will Johnson was going to fall to 47, and he did. But the most underrated pick in this draft, I think, is Cody Simon, the linebacker out of Ohio State. This guy was a national championship MVP. He was the Rose Bowl MVP, had the 0 number on him, which I think is a tradition for Ohio State, whoever gets the 0 number moving forward. A big thing over there. Denzel Burke, local kid out of Saguaro, also from Ohio State. But not only that, they got an offensive tackle from Ohio State and a D tackle from Tennessee as UDFAs. The defensive tackle from that's an undrafted free agent, 6'1", 340. That sounds like a good signing to me. So I give Monty a B+, but more importantly, they addressed all the defensive needs. We'll see, as you talked with Josh Weinfuss just now, how they address the other wide receiver. But I think if you can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 starters out of this class, just continues to get better every year. So I'm giving my G2G to Monty. Connor?
I'm jumping back into the NBA here. I'm going to be going with Anthony Edwards, who had a 43-piece to go ahead and put themselves 3-1 up over the Lakers.
Hachimura once again switched up on Edwards. Leans in, little sidesteps, knocks it in. Rebound. He's got 7 of those. Edwards puts up a 3. That's good. Anthony Edwards once again. Edwards electricity here in game 4. The little hang dribble.
Anthony Edwards there with 43, like I said, ends up getting that win 116-113. That's my G2G game changer of the weekend.
All right, if you haven't tried them yet, you're missing out. This is not your average stale, off-the-shelf protein bar. What makes these bars so delicious is they're fresh, no preservatives. They're stored in the refrigerator. Great for lunch, great for a workout, or even go and play a little golf, because they're a great way to get some solid protein and healthy fats into your diet. So check them out in the refrigerator section at Costco or at G2GBar.com. Get one today, G2GBar.com. Now, I want to go back to Geno Suárez and his 4 home runs. The first player to ever hit 4 in a game was Bobby Lowe.
Bobby Lowe.
Yeah, you don't know Bobby?
No.
Yeah.
Was that
1894.
I might have called
But here's the interesting stat, though.
late 1800s.
Here's the interesting stat. The last player to hit 4 in a game, do you know who that was?
Man.
He was a Diamondback.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? So who is it?
Because I
Reynolds?
remember,
Was it-
but now I've forgotten his name.
Was it Reynolds? Mark
No,
Reynolds?
that's a good guess.
No.
Um,
Oh, golly.
I mean, there's some big
It was
guys.
2009, right?
No,
Oh.
I'll say Sexton.
it wasn't
When
2009.
Sexton was here. Was it Sexton?
It was 2017.
Oh,
The
recent.
guy had a little
Goldschmidt.
stint with this
Goldschmidt.
team.
Oh,
Goldschmidt.
I'd probably guess Goldie too.
Yeah.
Well, little stint with the Diamondbacks.
Oh,
little stint.
Oh,
Short stint. That's your clue.
Oh man.
And he did it against the Dodgers. They beat him 13-0
Wow.
in LA.
All right, help us out. We're blind.
JD Martinez.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Some other guys on this list. Sean Green, also a former Diamondback. Mike Schmidt, Willie Mays, Gil Hodges, Lou Gehrig. So some good guys that have made this. Josh Hamilton, Carlos D'Angelo, Mike Cameron. So some guys have done it over the years. So 19 guys. Not bad.
And that's, you think of all those years, just 19 guys with 4. And the one thing about Geno Suárez, he did 4 consecutive at-bats. Because they talked about, well, some of the teams have had home run, ground out, whatever, and then the other 3 they followed. But I mean, he was 4 consecutive. And they said the average was at 4, I think 420 out of the 4 home runs, 420 feet on every one of those home runs combined to go there.
See the next Dave Kingman just hits home runs.
Dave Kingman
had
was
major long ball
Yeah.
walk.
My point is you strike out or you hit home runs.
Well, the Kingman's average is much better than 202. 202.
Hey, coming up, ABC 15 sports director Craig Fouey for a little fact or Fouey. But first, here's Jax, who has another Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. This is Rock and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
It's now time for your Rock and Minutes with Jimmy B's Twin Peaks ESPN 620.